Got a minute or two.
Okay, awesome. No. Okay, it's official. I know people will continue to pop in, but if you don't mind, Mark, should we go ahead and get started?
That's fine. That's fine. Let's do it.
All right, so I just want to introduce you guys. Mark is my absolutely amazing MAPS coach who I just absolutely adore, and he just has such a wealth of information and always positive and just is giving himself a service all the time. So I'm so excited to be able to share him with each and every one of you. He has a great topic today, just basically going over, building that pipeline. So he's over in Maine. So it's basically almost a happy hour for you over there. For us, it's still, middle of the afternoon. It was, just want to thank you again, Mark, and I'll just let you take it away from here. Thank you.
Hey,
so
thanks,
much.
Stephanie. I appreciate it. Hey, folks, you have an amazing team leader in your market center. She's just a wonderful person. And I got to tell you, she cares so much about you. In a lot of our conversations, she's talking about you and how she can better serve you and better serve her leadership. So you got world-class person there. And yes, it is 5 o'clock somewhere. And over here in Maine, it's 5 o'clock. Now, this isn't anything more than just water, so I can wet my whistle from time to time. So I'm really excited about being with you today. We're going to talk about a topic that has got us somewhat perplexed, and it's called building a pipeline in a pandemic. I want to congratulate all of you. First off, if you are building a business in real estate right now, you are one of the first people to build a real estate business in a pandemic. So congratulations to you all. I am a MAPS coach with Keller Williams Realty International. I coach around the world, great agents and leaders like Stephanie. And I'm so excited to be able to be with you just for a little bit this afternoon. So one of the things we do here in Keller Williams as part of our culture is that when you attend a class, if you could turn your camera on, if at all possible. And if you'd like, you can take your microphone off unless you're in a really noisy place that might disrupt. Because I'd love to see you. You can see me. And I'd like it to be interactive because it won't be as fun if we go through this and we don't have questions and back and forth. So we're open for questions. And if you have one, you simply just say, hey, Mark, I got a question. No more formality than that. So let's get into this thing. The first thing we do before we start any Keller Williams class or program is that we actually start by communicating. And one of the things that we communicate is our belief system. This is what makes us stand alone. This is what sets us apart. Not that we're better than anyone else. It's just that we're different. And to be great in anything, it's not about being better. It's about being different. So this is what sets us apart. It's called our belief system, the Y4C2Ts. And this is the foundation of Keller Williams Realty. This is how we've agreed as an organization for nearly 40 years to work with one another, whether it's in a market center, whether it's our clients, whether it's our family members. These are guideposts to help us guide ourselves towards success in life first off, and then in business that supports a great life. So the first precept of the Y4C2Ts, and the reason why it's called Y4C2Ts, it's just the acronym for all these different topics pulled together. The W stands for win-win or no deal. That means that there's no transaction that's worth our reputation. There's no transaction that's worth you doing something that's less than moral, ethical, and legal. Because whenever you go out to do business, you go out to do business with Paul's name, with Stephanie's name, with Gary Keller's name, with Carl Liebert's name, with Mark King's name, our whole crew. We all represent each other. So no transaction is worth our reputation. So it's win-win on both sides, or it's no deal. And you can come to win-win negotiations. It's actually very rewarding when you do that with your clients. Integrity, do the right thing. Very, very critical that we do the right thing. Again, our actions as Keller Williams Associates is part of being an ambassador to the world's largest real estate concerns. So we want to make sure that we're integral in what we do. And friends, let me tell you, in your market as well as in my market, your word, your reputation will get around very quickly. And we want to make sure that we're doing things, even when people aren't looking, that is the right thing. Customers always come first. Now, it doesn't say customers are always right. It says customers always come first. And that's important for us to understand. When you take on a client and they become your fiduciary responsibility, and that means that you have to make sure that their best interests are in mind all the time during that transaction. So when we say customers always come first, they do. They do come first. Now, again, I said come first, not are always right. And sometimes we might get that kind of backwards. Customer isn't always right, although it's our job to make them feel okay for not being right. That's a fascinating part of what our job is to make sure that our clients are well advised so they can make great decisions. Their decisions won't always be the decisions that we would have made for ourselves, and that's okay. We represent their interests. As long as we advise them, it's up to them to make the decision. Commitment, the second C, commitment in all things. Everything we do, let's approach it from a place of being committed to doing our very best. It's not about being necessarily the best, it's about being your best. And when you and I practice being our best, great things are going to come. We're going to attract wonderful things into our business life, and that's going to really have a great magnification, if you will, in our personal life. The third C comes from communication. Seek first to understand. You know, in a lot of communications that I've been in over the years, when I haven't slowed down, I'm really wanting them to know what I'm thinking first or what I'm perceiving first. And I'm not necessarily slowing down enough to ask them how they see things. Could you think that maybe your clients see things differently than you do? Your clients may not have ever sold a home before, or maybe they purchased one home and that's all they have for real estate experience. You are around this every day, all day. So we want to seek first to understand. So that happens by asking great questions. And when you ask great questions, you can't do anything but endear people to you. Tell me how you feel about that. Tell me how you come to think that way. Tell me where you gain that perspective. Communication, seek first to understand. The fourth and final C is creativity, ideas before results. We can jump right to the results. And oftentimes, if we do so, we miss the whole creative part of being in an organization, being within a group, or owning your own business. Creativity allows us to take all the information in first, then find out where the commonality is. And from that, let's move on to maybe finding a creative way to actually help solve a problem. T, teamwork. Together, everyone achieves more. And we know this to be true. When we are all working together, if you could imagine one of those crew or scull boats that these collegiate athletes are rowing together, if they're all rowing together in sequence, those ladies can move that boat, or those guys can move that boat at such an amazing speed. If one person isn't working in synchronicity with everybody else, though, it limits the capacity of the boat to move quickly. Where in your life, perhaps, have you experienced where people weren't working together? And did you achieve more or did you achieve less in that area during that time? Trust starts with honesty. We know this in our relationships, personally and professionally. How do you build trust with your clients? The best way to build trust with your clients is to educate them. Take time to educate your clients. When you educate, you build trust. And once you've built trust, then you've earned the right to go into business. When we don't build trust first, there becomes sometimes this gap of understanding who has what best interest in mind. Friends, if you do this in your family life and in your business world that supports your family life, you're going to find relationships will get stronger. People are going to show up in a different way, and you'll perform at an even higher level. Now, just last year, our International Agent Leadership Council actually voted to change our Y4C2Ts, something that hadn't been done in over 37 years. Last year, they added the word equity. Equity, opportunities for all. We're very proud of that here at Keller Williams. We are a company of opportunity for everyone. It doesn't matter where you started, it only matters where you finish. In our business model, there is no place for people that are not available for equity. Everyone has the opportunity to build wealth through real estate. Everyone has the opportunity to build a great opportunity through the career path that we have here at Keller Williams Realty. I hope that you are taking an opportunity in your market center to help build it, working with the Agent Leadership Council, working with your local leadership, so that your company can be the best company for you and for so many around you. And then the last word, success. Results through people. Friends, we can't be successful in this industry, or perhaps anything else in our world, unless we endeavor to have success through people. One of the things that we work on here at Keller Williams Realty is to really understand people where they're at and ask them where it is that they truly desire to be. Our success works through leveraging people. You might be thinking, well, Mark, I am a solo agent. I don't have a team. Well, yes, you do. You have a phenomenal team. You have an operating principal. You have a team leader. You have a broker of record. You probably have a director of first impressions, somebody that is at the front desk serving as a receptionist, doing so many important tasks at that desk. Those are all members of your team. And you can have greater success when you learn how to leverage through all those folks. So I wanted to open it up maybe for a question or two, if you've got a question or two, and I would love to have you participate with us. That's part of our Keller Williams culture. Have you heard about the Y4C2Ts? Do you have questions about it? And what are your ahas walking away from this? I do want you to know that every single Keller Williams class that will go on from here on out will always involve some type of our culture. This isn't a new thing. It's something that we started with and slowly we got away from, and we found out very quickly that we needed to get back to it because culture is so important. So I'm opening it up. Maybe a couple questions that you might have or comments or ahas. What do you got?
Anyone? We have a shy group.
Oh, we don't have a shy group. We have a lot of realtors here. They're not shy. I can wait if you'd like, but I'm sure you'd rather not wait. So who's got an aha about the maybe Stephanie, you can start off. What kind of an aha do you get? What do you feel like when you see this?
Well, it's nice to know that we have such a strong company that we work for, right? Everything is from the foundation up, right? Whether, from our company to your own individual company, and just having that belief system. And those are the type of people that we attract into our culture, into the office, right? Are people that share these particular values.
I like that, Stephanie. I love that. How about some other folks that are online? I can see you guys. Love for you to turn your camera on if you can, unless you're caught in that SoCal traffic and you're just in your car. And even if you are, I'd love to still see you.
I like the equity part.
You like what part of the equity part do you like?
It's always about where you come from and where you're going. It's reinventing yourself and pushing through and having that desire to get there. So the opportunity for all means that we're all in it together, but that the opportunity is there if you seek it. And I like that.
Yeah, we've always been a company where the language of our opportunity has been results. So there's so many opportunities here at Keller Williams, and Stephanie can help lead you and guide you in the pathway to the opportunities that are here. It just comes down to how are your results. Whenever Gary Keller has somebody on stage, he's reviewed their P&L, their profit and loss statement. He wants to ensure that if somebody's going to be sharing with you, they are building a business and they're doing it in the right way, not just for showmanship. They're doing it in a way that can be an example to you. Equity for all. I love that. I love that. Thanks for sharing on that one. I appreciate that. Who else? Who else wants to share real quick? Now, you guys are from California, right? And California agents, they know how to show up. So I get, here we are. Hey, Mona, how are you? But you guys,
Christina,
hey, how are you?
Christina, did you have something you wanted to share?
Oh, no, I just wanted to say that I'm new. I don't have much to say right now. I'm in awe of, learning about everything. There is so much to learn actually, right? And I'm just quietly listen and learn. And yes, I will have a lot of questions as soon as I put myself together with everything that you guys teach.
Christina, I'm so thankful that you spoke up. I have great gratitude for you and welcome to our organization. And there's no new people here. You guys are all just rising stars. Imagine, if you had a loved one going in for surgery and it was a critical surgery and the surgeon said, I'm new and I'm going to take a crack at this, see how it turns out. That would be very cool. I mean, that's the last thing I want to hear if I'm going in to have a surgery. So one of the things I want to make sure that you share, and I know that you may be a newer licensee, I just want to make sure you never are telling the public, hey, I'm new. I just want you to say, I'm a rising star and I've got some great colleagues that help me out with any questions that I may have. And even if you've been in the business for 20 years, we don't want to give an answer that we're not sure of. I don't want my cardiologist to say something he's not sure of. I want him to confer with the other cardiologists in the group. That's where the power comes from. Well, thanks so much for those of you that shared on that. And I'm going to move on so we can talk a little bit about our subject for today. Our subject for today is how do we build a pipeline in a pandemic? What do we do to make sure that we are able to be of great service to the folks that have been entrusted to us? So I want to read this to you. I trust that you can see it on your screen. The real estate checkup, and that's what we're going to talk about today, is a conversation after the care call. Now, since the outbreak of the pandemic about a year ago from right now, we've been conducting calls with people and asking them how they're doing. And that's wonderful. And that had a place and a time, and it still does. As a real estate professional, though, we are the frontline responders to our country's economy. It's really important that we, because we control such a big portion of the economy, are out there connecting with our people. See, our mission is to serve and protect the families, the clients, and the community's real estate ownership. That's what we're called to do when you take an oath with the Realtor Board. We care and have compassion, and we demonstrate common sense in service to those we love, our family and friends, and those that we're concerned with, our community and neighbors. The real estate checkup that we're going to work on today will be part of helping people move through fear and uncertainty of the ever-changing world of real estate ownership. Now, there's always going to be opportunity, whether we're in a pandemic or not, and let's hope that we're on the backside of this pandemic. Even when we get through the pandemic, there will be fears that homeowners will have. And it's our responsibility, not just during a transaction or at the closing table or the week after, it's our responsibility to stay in touch with people, to let them know that we're there as a valued resource to them, to help them with their real estate questions and their real estate needs. You may want to write some of these things down as I share them with you today. One of the things I'd like you to understand is that 6% of the people that are in your database or will be in your database will need your services this year. So if you had 500 people in your database, 30 people are going to need your services. Now, here's the challenge. Will you connect with them or will somebody else? To be really a real estate doctor, it's incumbent upon you and I to make sure we're connecting with people and we're helping to assess their health, their real estate health. So let's dive into that just a little bit more today. I was on a call not too long ago with Gary Keller, and a bunch of us were listening to what Gary had to say, and he was sharing with us the message of now. What is the message of now? Let me open it up to you folks. If you had the opportunity today to take some time and connect with people in your community, your database, if you will, what would be your most important thing that you want to share with people? There's no right or wrong answers here, so let's feel free to open up those microphones and connect with each other.
That you're in real estate?
Important that they know that you're in real estate. I love that, Mona. Thank you. What else? What would be an important message for you to share with people?
You're concerned about their health.
You're concerned about their health. What kind of health?
They're doing well as far as physically, and if they feel comfortable as far as where they're at in their living situation.
Okay, I like that. I like that. That's a great question. Anything else?
To let them know that you're there to help, even if they're not looking to buy or sell.
I like that. Let them know how to get in touch with you and that you're there for them, whether they're looking to buy, sell, or maybe even invest. No trick questions here. What else?
Maybe this is a great time to buy or sell.
Hey, I like that, Edric. That might be, hey, is it a great time to buy or sell for you? I love that. So what message would you, I got time for two more, what message would you be giving to those people today? These have all been great answers so far. Anyone else want to chime in? Well, here are some ideas for you. One, I'd ask them if they understood what the real estate market was doing. I want to understand what their perception of the real estate market is. Friends, let's face it, you and I, we're in this thing probably 24/7, right? That's all we think of. You could go to one of your restaurants, you could be sitting 500 yards away from somebody in another booth, socially distanced, and they say something like, I think we need a bigger house. And your ears pick up on it because you've got radar for real estate. Your ears pick right up on it. You perk right up and you figure out a way maybe to drop by and say, hey, hi, heard you might have an interest in real estate. We don't know what people know until they tell us what they know. So a message for today could be is tell me what you think is going on with the real estate market in your area. You'll be fascinated to find out what you hear. I just heard this in an article. And Mark King, our president of Keller Williams, shared it with us this today in a meeting. I wanted to share it with you. The article said that 66% of people in the United States that own homes don't know what the value of their home is. Is that a message we need to be getting out to people? Do you know what the market is? Do you know what's going on with your home value? So let me ask you a couple things about what's going on in your particular market. How's the market there right now? Somebody share with me. What's the market like there now?
Crazy.
The market is crazy. Wish I got a buck every time I heard that. The market's crazy. Is it crazy good or crazy bad? Because there's both. I've been in all of them.
Crazy good.
Crazy
Yeah, well,
good.
it all depends on what perspective.
Right.
Good
Okay.
for sellers.
Say again.
Good for sellers.
Good for sellers. Yeah, Joey, I appreciate that. Really good for sellers. Over here, a house listed is a house sold, and you don't even have to put it on the MLS. We can do it off market if we want to. It's just that tight. So would you say that home values are up or down right now in your market?
Up.
Up.
Okay, it could be up in your markets. Absolutely. Maybe is there any market where it could be down?
Yes.
Yeah, there could be because real estate is local. Right. So there could be, it's tough to make big sweeping generalizations in real estate because there could be some areas that are experiencing a down market. So let me ask you a question. What is considered a seller's market?
When the ball is in the seller's court.
I like that, Mona. The ball is in the seller's court. So what tilts the court to allow the ball to be in a seller's court? I like to call it seller's advantage.
There's
Was it less than four months of inventory?
Is that Stephanie? I can't see everybody on the, I'll just switch over. Yeah, it is, Stephanie. It's actually anything less than 6 months of inventory is a seller's advantage market. Now for you and I, we may only have a month of inventory. Across the country right now, there's 2.4 months of inventory. In your market, it could be a day's worth of inventory, a week's worth of inventory. When I work in Toronto, they don't talk about listings that have been on the market for days. They talk about listings that have been on the market for hours.
Yeah.
Some areas in your neck of the wood could also be listings that have been on the market for hours. Some places aren't even listed on the local MLS because their agents are offering them opportunities to sell property off the market. So a seller's advantage market is when sellers are at the advantage in the market because the market has less than 6 months of inventory. So what would be a buyer's advantage market?
A lot of inventory.
On the market.
I heard a lot of inventory. I heard somebody else, a female, what was that?
There's more homes on the market than there are sellers. I mean,
There could be more homes on the market than there are yeah, I like that. So more buyers in the market than there are sellers, or excuse me, vice versa.
Yeah.
I remember I've been through a number of shifts, and maybe you have too. I've been through a terrorism shift that caused a big shift in the market. I've been through a financial breakdown shift, which caused a major shift in the market that lasted years. And now we're going through a pandemic shift. Now, these are major shifts, but shifts, just like earthquakes in your neck of the woods, happen all the time. Somebody's excited about something. I hope they just properly. So, oh, if we could, there we go. Thank you. If you could mute her, that would be wonderful. So when you think of your market, what is the story that your community of people that are working with you need to know about this market?
Homes are selling fast.
Teresa, I love that. Homes are selling fast. And when we're selling homes fast, what's going on with the value of homes?
Going up.
Going up.
Value of homes are going up. Now, is this a message we need to get out to everybody that we know?
No.
I think so.
I believe it is. I believe it's a message that people need to know. And here's why they need to know it. They may be sitting on a house that they've owned for 10 years, and the equity they now have in that home is massive. Now, I saw this happen in the last major financial breakdown shift. We had people in 2006 and 7 that were selling their home, and they were seeing equity responses in the market over just 12 months where they were gaining 25 and 35 and 40% value in just that short period of time. We're kind of seeing that right now. Now, here's the thing. Does anyone here know what the market's going to look like in November?
No.
I don't either. Yeah, I don't either. And neither does Gary Keller. We don't have crystal balls. Although we know that at some point, what goes up must what?
Go down.
Must come down. So at some point it will come down. Now, I remember people calling at a certain time of the year in 2008. And I remember our agents answering those calls, and I could hear them. I was their CEO at the time, and I was listening in, and I could hear them. And they were going, wow, I wish you would have called me back in April. Because back in April, I probably could have got you $50,000 more for your house. And on the other side of the line, it went silent. And then some people said, well, why didn't you tell me that? Friends, we could be faced with the same situation, and it will happen. I don't know if it will go gradually, or if it will happen suddenly. And we're always just one event away from a sudden shift. Wouldn't it be important to at least let people know what the value of their home is? And now you're armed with the evidence that 66% of American homeowners do not know what their home is worth. And I'll take it to this extent. If you were to ask somebody, do you know what your home is worth this week? The number would even be higher, because is your market a weekly market? Are things going up by the week? Say yes. Yeah, we're breaking records in so many neighborhoods right now. Maybe not every neighborhood, but so many neighborhoods. So we don't want to be handling those phone calls. So let's get out and let's get proactive. And I'm going to show you a system in order to do that. So we're going to reach out, and I want you to reach out and just touch somebody. Do what I'm about to share with you. Just do it. Do it with your family. Do it with a friend or whatever. Just start doing this. It's going to be very easy. How do you get in touch with your community? Well, the first thing I'd like to think that you would do is work with Stephanie and the team to get all of your data into a database like KW Command. Get into Command and let the data be automized. It has to be in this market that we're in this industry, in this time that we're in. If your data isn't automated, it's almost not worth it. There are companies out there, I won't say their name, one starts with a Z, ends with an illo, that said they would never compete against realtors. And if you already, maybe you haven't heard this yet, they have become an agency and they're in your neighborhood. And what does that company have a lot of? Starts with a D, ends with ADA.
Data.
Yeah, they have data like nobody's business. They are an amazing data company. And I want to praise them for that. They did a great job. It's kind of like Amazon. When you buy something on Amazon, they say other people who bought this, buy this. They're already looking at what you might buy because they know your buying habits. Well, if these other agencies know the habits of people and we're not reaching out and touching them, what could potentially happen to the members in our online community?
They could get replaced.
We could get replaced. Yeah, Mona, you're absolutely right. We could get replaced. And frankly, if we don't do our job, we probably should, shouldn't we?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and hey, friends, everything I'm talking about, I haven't mastered yet either. So it's not like I'm telling you, hey, do this because I do this. No, we're all getting better at this together. See, everyone deserves to have real estate medical benefits. How many of you have done something a lot longer than you wanted to because you just wanted to hang on to health benefits? Yeah, when I talk to independent contractors, many folks that's their biggest concern is medical benefits. Well, I got to think that the people that own homes right now are wondering what's going on with their home. They may not know who to ask. They really deserve real estate medical benefits. It's really important. And that's frankly why the governor allows you to do what you do in the state of California. You have the right to serve the public, nothing else. The Board of Realtors determines what somebody would be compensated for in the multiple listing service. The governor in the statewide real estate commission actually say that your response is to respond to the needs of the people of the state of California. And this is a time we've got to step up and respond. You know that by selling a home, we actually have somewhere around 60 to 80 people in business in our economy. That's how important what you do is. That's why I started by saying you're on the front line of this country's economy, and I'm so proud of you. What we do is so vitally important. So how do we ensure the community gets their checkup? Well, right now, we've got a great example. We've got the example of vaccinations. I just recently had my first round of vaccinations, and next week I'm going in for my second round. My doctor actually, thank you very much. I was excited about that. My doctor actually called me and reached out and said, it's time for your vaccination. If you'd like it, would you like it? I didn't initiate the call. My doctor did, because my doctor knows how vitally important it is to be healthy. So we've got to ensure that the community of people that we have in our business databases are reached out by us so that they can get their vaccination. Now, let me share with you just a little bit about how we can make that happen. I'm going to bring up to you a tool that you can use, and I've sent it over to your phenomenal team leader. And this tool will actually allow you to become a real estate doctor. So the way that we would do that to become a real estate doctor is we would follow a system. Now, we're known at Keller Williams Realty about being a system-oriented company. So I'm going to walk you through this pretty quickly because you're going to get a download of this from your team leader. Now, this is a system that I created that hundreds of agents have been using and having success with. If you choose to use it, feel free to make it your own. Although, if don't take and create something totally different until you actually master this. So step number one, you're going to connect with people in your database. I'm going to ask you to use the DTD2 system. Call on 2 letters of the alphabet. Your team leader has a spreadsheet that she can share with you on which letters of the week the whole market center should be calling. You're going to call and you're going to use a technique when you talk to somebody called the Ford technique. It's really ask about their family. Ask about how things are going at work. Ask them what they're doing for fun during COVID. And then for D, which stands for dreams, Ford is family, occupation, recreation, and dreams. For dreams, I like to say, what are you going to do once COVID is over and we can do anything we want to do? And that gets into great conversation. And then here's the script or the conversation, if you will, code word conversation that we're going to use. Hey, Jill, how's the family? What's happening? What's happening at work these days? You know, what have you been doing for fun lately? What's down the road for you in the next 5 years? And then what we're going to do is we're going to say something like this, and it's all written out for you. You can have this right off to the side. I'm reading it right now. Hey, I noticed that you haven't had a real estate checkup. It's a 30-minute review of the health of your real estate. Jill, it's important for you to know the health of your real estate, isn't it? Great. I'm scheduling appointments 4 and 5 days out. What works best for you and spouse or their partner's name? And we're going to get a date and a time that we can go over their real estate checkup with them. Again, following the system, once we've got that scheduled, and you're going to have conversations with people, and they're going to be wondering what their home is worth, and they're going to literally be asking for you to help them. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to schedule that appointment. I said 4 or 5 days, only to give me some extra time to maybe complete a report so I can give them a range of prices. I'm also going to be looking for some different things as well, and I'll show you what those are in just a minute. Now, again, you're going to have this entire system in just a few minutes after the class, okay? So what I'm going to do is once I get them scheduled, I'm going to prepare the real estate checkup. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to send an email to that person. I'm going to send them an email with a Zoom link or a Google Hangout link so we can meet virtually. I'm also going to ask them if they have a copy of their mortgage. And I'm going to say, hey, it's no big deal if you don't, but I'd love to see a copy of your mortgage and also a copy of your homeowner's insurance policy. Now, the reason for this is that if their home is increased in value since the time they bought it, they may have a gap in insurance coverage. Their home they might have bought at $800,000 and now it's worth $1.5 million. If there was a situation at their home that required insurance, by not having the right amount of coverage, there could be a gap. And that's something we could have taken care of for them by simply having at least an annual real estate checkup. So this is the things that we're going to review when we do the checkup with them. We're going to review their mortgage. We're going to see what type of mortgage interest rate they have. And we're going to recommend perhaps maybe they can save money on their mortgage. We're not calling to get the listing here. We're simply calling to add value. Insurance, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to make sure that their coverage is up to date with the current value of the home. We're going to check on their deed and their title. If you have the opportunity to pull a deed and title and take a look at it, we want to make sure that they're in a conforming zone, that nothing's changed in the area that they live in regards to what it is they'd like to use the property for. We want to make sure that they've pulled permits. So if you know that they've built a new deck or perhaps put in a pool, did they have that permitted? By doing that, we can save them a lot of headaches down the road. We want to check on zoning and codes in that area. So we want to give them a really good overview of what's going on with the area and how it could affect their property. One of the things we want to look at is what's the local market like? What's the regional market like? And what's the statewide and national market look like? These things you can find out very quickly. You don't have to spend a lot of time on them. You can just say nationally, we're experiencing a home value increase. Now, we're going to actually conduct the real estate checkup. So we're going to confirm the appointment. We're then going to have all our research in front of us so that we're prepared. You're going to have a very appropriate background so that your background on your Zoom it's inviting. It looks professional. We're going to also make sure that they can see us. Sometimes you might have a backline like with Christina. I can't see Christina because her lovely face is coming in and out because of her background. There looks like maybe there's a window behind her or something. So I might mention that and I'll say, hey, can you see me okay? Can you hear me okay? Because the worst thing you want to do is start a checkup and they didn't hear half of what you had to say or they couldn't see you. I want to make sure that I'm on time and I want to make sure the presentation doesn't go much more than 45 minutes. Now, they may take longer because they may have questions for you, and they will, because you're going to build trust by educating them. And when you build trust, they're going to open up to you with all kinds of things. Now we're going to actually dive into conducting the real estate checkup. And here's the outline. Put it all together for you. Now, again, you can improve this, although I wouldn't say just throw it out the window and do your own thing, because oftentimes you'll wait forever to create your own thing. And we've gone ahead and created it for you here. Start by saying, hey, my goal today is to review your vital signs for your real estate portfolio. And at the conclusion of our checkup, you should have a better understanding of your property or property security and the local economics that could affect your future ownership plans. Now, friends, you could have that just written, and you will, and you could read it just like that. And then you're going to say, start by saying, is there anything in particular that you'd like to discuss today that would really make this real estate checkup of great value to you? Great question, easy question. You're already going to start having them buy into being part of your medical real estate practice. So then you're going to begin. You're going to explore the type of a mortgage, and you can read the information there. Then you're going to review the homeowner policy with them. If they don't have that, we're going to give them some suggestions to maybe talk to an insurance agent if they don't have one that they're working with, or maybe get in touch with the insurance agent that they currently have. Then we want them to download your Keller Williams mobile app. I want to make sure that you give them the instructions on how to do that there, because they are going to be looking at real estate. And wouldn't you like them to be using your app instead of somebody else's app? The neat thing about our app is when they use your app anywhere in North America and soon to be around the world, when they look at real estate, it will automatically say, would you like us to contact your broker, Mona? Would you like us to call her, email her, or text her so you get more information? Then you're immediately involved in any particular real estate potential transaction. Yes, go ahead, Mona.
Sometimes I've shared the app before with people and it will show properties that are no longer available.
Yeah, and that happens because of the local MLS. So don't worry, that's probably an isolated incident. We're working on that at Keller Williams International. We've got 400 engineers that are working to make those applications better for you. So more times than not, it works. And I understand the frustration when it doesn't work. So just let people know, hey, we're making this better each and every day. Better that they have it than they don't have it, because they may be using other real estate apps that aren't going to serve them, or maybe they're not going to get in touch with you. And we want to make sure they get in touch with you. You deserve it. You're taking good care of them. Great question. So we're going to look at the local real estate, what's going on locally. We're going to help them download the app. We're going to ask them if they've done any remodeling projects or additions to the home since we were last there. We want to ask them about that. We want to ask them if they're thinking about adding any additions. Why would we ask them if they're thinking about making any renovations or additions to the home?
It will tell you, excuse me, Teresa, it will tell
Hey,
you
Teresa.
how value your home will be. You know, it takes you a estimate of, give them the precise more price range, the value, I don't know, the price,
Yeah.
the value.
Yeah, it will give you an opportunity to discuss with them why they're making those changes. Perhaps they're thinking about moving and they think that the improvements will help with the value of their home. You could even share with them, hey, in today's market, you may not have to replace the windows to get top value for your home. So we want to ask them these things, and we want to give them advice. Should I improve the bathroom? Should I improve the kitchen? Some of these improvements are well worth the dollars they'll spend. Others may not bring back the return. So we want to ask them what they're going to be doing. Then we want to go and give them a current range of pricing. We think that their home would meet in today's market needs. Whatever the market is asking for, we could tell them what their home would actually be presented at in a range. Don't give them a number, give them a range. That might bring on some further conversation. By the time you get to this point, you've spent maybe 20 minutes with them. You've had some good conversation, and then you're going to ask them a question. And at this point, this is the way you would read the question. Hey, at this point, I may ask you something a little bit that's sensitive about finances. And I would like to ask you a personal question about your finances and work. Would that be okay? And I tell you, most people are going to say, yeah, that's fine. Absolutely. And then you're going to ask them, how are things at work? How are things with the business that you own? They'll know that you care by asking some of these more difficult questions. Let's face it, friends, people in this country, 33% of homeowners are in default. And going through the process of losing a home to the bank is not pretty, and it casts a 7-year shadow on people. If you can help resolve that for them before they have to go through a bankruptcy, you will be a very valued part of their success in life. So we're going to ask them those questions, find out where they're going with that. And if they're concerned about asking the question, no problem, answering the question, no problem. Let them move forward. Or you might want to say, you know what? We were interviewing somebody not too long ago, and they were losing sleep at night because their mortgage was just getting out of control and they couldn't afford it. They were behind 3 or 4 payments, and we were able to help them by suggesting opportunities in which they could maybe remove themselves from that mortgage. And by sharing a third-party story, it makes it easier for somebody to go ahead and share their story. Remember, we're dealing with people in all types of situations, and things might look really good on the outside, although on the inside, they could be really hurting. And by you taking the time to ask that question, you could really change their life. Then I want to follow up by saying, what are your biggest real estate concerns that you have right now? Just listen to what they have for questions. Answers. And those answers will oftentimes be pipeline opportunities for your business. Big concern I have right now, let's say, is my mom just lost my dad. She's a widow and she lives in a larger home. And I don't believe she could take care of the home herself. Oh, tell me what your thoughts are around that. What do you think you might do? That way you can either be a referring agent for that person or maybe even take on the listing and help that person with that particular need. I love to end up with this particular question. If time and money were not obstacles, where else would you choose to live? I always say where else because I know where they live, they love right now. I'm just going to assume that. They'll tell me otherwise if they want to. And that way they're going to say, you know, I'd always wanted to live in Bend, Oregon. Oh, well, why aren't you living there now? Well, we've got kids in school and it would just be, tough to carry 2 different mortgages. And you might be able to say, hey, I understand. Well, if Bend is really important to you, have you ever thought about having a property and having it rented while you're dealing with your family here and having somebody pay the mortgage for you until you can actually get there? Our job, friends, is to solve problems, not to sell. The more that we solve, the more opportunities we'll have to gain people's trust. And when we gain their trust and help them do real estate, we'll literally gain a commission from them and they'll be glad to pay it. Then the last thing we want to do, like any doctor's appointment, is set up the next checkup. We want them to know that we really care about them. And we do that by providing great service and really good experiences to them. That's the real estate checkup. It's a system to ensure that everyone gets a great service. And that's what we do, is we provide a great service for our clients. So if you're wondering how you could be getting listings right now, you may be missing out if you're not connecting with your database systematically and doing a real estate checkup with them. Matter of fact, I could almost guarantee that anyone on this call, if you implement this system, by the end of the week, you'll be interviewing people and there'll be opportunities for listings. Be thorough. Go through the whole process. Take your time with it. Take the 30 minutes and ask great questions along the way. Show that you care. And the best way to show that you care is by asking questions. Yeah, Mona.
What if your database is not that big? Could you try doing this with people outside of your sphere of influence?
You
And
certainly
also-
could. Yeah, you certainly could. If you had 10 people in your database, each of those people probably know 5 people. And once you've done a checkup with somebody, if you go back into the system, and you'll get that in just a few minutes, you'll see that there's a question that says, who else in your family or your friends would a real estate checkup be good for? And once they've gone through it with you, they're going to say everyone they know. And say, great, who might you know that I should offer this service to? Your goal is to create the largest database you can, because remember, the bigger the database that you serve, that 6% number grows. And that 6% is a constant every year. So if you have 1,000 people in your database and you're calling them once a quarter through DTD2, you're going to have 60 transactions in there. And I know that SoCal agents have some pretty hefty commissions. Imagine 60 transactions.
Woo.
And they're there, friends. They're already there. It's just that we haven't been doing a good job as doctors to make sure that all of our patients are getting a checkup every year. If you have to, go out and buy yourself a $15 white lab jacket and put it on every day for 2 or 3 hours and be the real estate doctor. You know, I've got folks that are doing that now, and it puts them in the right state of mind to go out and make those phone calls. Now, probably won't wear it when you're doing your Zoom. That would be a little presumptuous, although you could do it while you're making your phone calls for sure.
I think they would like that.
What kind of questions might you have as we close up today? Questions that you have, perhaps what you learned today. I'd love to hear at least 4 or 5 ahas from the group here today. Yeah, let's start off with Mona.
Oh, sorry. Did someone else want to go? I keep talking.
We'll get everybody involved that wants to be involved.
Okay, so I'm not sure if this would work well with my sphere of influence because not that really many people own a home. But I was thinking, could you do this on a flyer, like, do something creative, offer people like a complimentary consultation or what have you, and could you leave it outside of their door? Is that okay with COVID?
Well, you'd want to check with your local authorities to see if it's okay to put flyers on doors. You want to check with the local HOA to make sure that they allow that, because if not, then your name is plastered all over the place with your contact information, and they'll come find you, and maybe they'll fine you. Yeah. So what I would say is be in touch with people that you know already. Maybe they're renting. Is there a good message to offer to people right now that are renting? What's the message? How about interest rates have never been this low before? I mean, 2.5%, 3% interest rates. Friends, when those go away, people are going to be like, why didn't you call me when it was 2.5%? And you're going to have to look kind of foolish and say, well, I wasn't being a very good doctor, was I? I really apologize. I just heard too many of those conversations over the last few shifts. So let's be out in front of that. So Mona, hopefully that answered your question. Talk to the people that you know already. Ask them who they know. You can go and spend a lot of money doing cold calls and flyers and all that. And typically the response that we get back from that is not worth the time and effort that you put into it. So find people. It may take a little bit. Put them in your database and consistently stay in touch with them. You may know people that are renting. They have parents, they have uncles and aunts, they have friends that own homes or would like to own homes. Start getting involved in their life, and that will help them out. It takes a little bit of time. It will be well worth it for you, though. Great question, Mona. Who else? Question or maybe an aha that you got from today's session?
Hey, Mark.
Yes.
Hey, so for me, I really love when you emphasize about seek to understand, because you really emphasize on really providing value. You're not really selling, you're just really wanted to see if you can help. That's why you want to ask strategic questions to your database and see how you can help. It's not about the commission, it's all about helping them, not just now, but even in the future. So I like the no pressure approach.
Joey, I'm so glad that you got that, because none of us like pressure. And most people, when you talk to them and say, I don't want to be a salesy person. Well, don't be. And then they'll go and do salesy stuff. And I'm like, what are you doing? Just simply ask questions. I love the question, where else would you live if time and money weren't an object? Let them dream with you a little bit. Oh, I'd love to live in Colorado. Well, why aren't you in Colorado? Just ask another question. Well, geez, we got kids, they're going to college, whatever. Be the solution. Hey, perhaps we can come up with a solution. Would it be of interest to you if I could come up with a solution that would allow you to own a property in Colorado, have it paid for by renters, and you get to go visit it 2 times a year tax-free? I never thought of that. Well, geez, let me put something together for you. That's how real estate agents build lifelong relationships, not just to sell one house to one person, to sell that person generations of homes to them and to their family and friends. Great question, Joe. I'm glad that you got that. I'm glad that that was an aha for you. Time for just a couple more. Yes, Mona? And anybody else that wants to jump on?
So just another question. So when you were saying how they could go ahead, purchase that home, rent it out, and visit it twice a year, how would that exactly work?
Well, that's a class that's too long for me to deliver in 7 minutes, but it's literally one of the things that our tax authority, the IRS allows, is that they allow a property owner that owns a rental property to go visit it, and they can write off the expense of visiting it twice a year. So that's something that a CPA would advise you on, and Stephanie may have
So they
some.
would just like ask the renters to leave for a week or two when they're visiting.
Well, they just wouldn't rent it. Maybe if it's a vacation rental, they wouldn't rent it out for those two, they already picked the 2 weeks that they want to go visit it, so they just don't rent it out. Now, if it's a renter, they can stay in a hotel and they can still check out their property and maybe do some work around the property, and they can write off the expense of staying in a hotel. Yep, great question. Who else?
Nika.
Yes, hey,
Hi.
is it Edric? Oh,
Yeah.
we'll go there, and then we'll go to the lady that's got a question after.
Okay. So is it me or the other person?
It is you, brother. You got it, my friend.
Okay. So in the situation that Mona was talking about, would that be an instance where you could align that with Airbnb? And then that way that person could periodically go back and visit the property?
Yeah, absolutely. You're just a problem solver. You're not going to make those decisions for them. You're just going to offer them, hey, here's some opportunities that other people have taken advantage of as owning investment properties. Yep, absolutely. Great question. Who else?
Nika, here we go.
Hello.
So, hi, so in the real estate checkup, so like Mona was talking about regarding her sphere of influence and whatnot, we might not have a lot of friends and family who own at this time, but I think this checkup is a good scenario even for renters. So to
Absolutely.
do a real estate checkup and reach out as far as the avenues in the prospect of owning a home. Where are you at now? I think it's a good market for them to consider. A lot of families are coming back together, generations together. And this is something that they, funnel together. I mean, this is a real good way to get them in their first home or what have you. So
You're absolutely right. I mean, interest rates, buying power, as I like to say, buying power has never been so high. So if they qualify for a great rate, and even if they don't qualify for the best rate, even the mediocre rate is amazing. So yeah, it's the conversation of the now. Hey, we've got to get this message out. So if you're not owning a home, hey, you could be paying way less in mortgage than you may be as a rentor. And if you own a home, had you ever thought, I just sold one of my home, and I just bought from that home, I bought 2 homes.
nice.
So, and I bought 2 investment properties. I'm living in one of them. And what I'm doing is I'm waiting the market out because I think there'll be some amazing deals maybe just a year from now. And right now, construction prices are up 177%. And I'm just not ready to pay that much for building another house. So great question. Time for one more. Who's got it? Anybody else? Edric, you're going to get it, man. Did I pronounce your name right? All right, it's you. You got it.
Okay. I have a friend in the Bay Area who his mom died and his grandmother died. So he has 2 homes, right? He's living in one and one is empty. And I think it might need some work. The house is in Oakland. How do I, so he still has this sentimental attachment to the home that he grew up in, the one that's empty. How do I finesse the conversation? Because I've been trying to finesse the conversation of what are you going to do with the piece of property? Because it's just sitting in limbo. But I don't want to put too much pressure on him about it because his mom, goes back to, this was the house I grew up in, but I'm like, you're not making any money on it. You could be renting it out and it's just sitting there.
That's a very common situation. So I may ask him, hey, what do you think your mom's intentions were with that home? What do you think your mom would like to see you do at that home? What do you think's happening to the home as it sits vacant?
Yeah.
How much does the home actually cost for you to actually service the debt on it and the maintenance? What could you do that would be life-changing and you could celebrate your mom with the proceeds from the sale of the home?
Got it.
So I would get into some questions around that. There's an adage that we have in bold that says emotion excuse me, logic makes people think, emotion makes them act. So friends, here's a good guideline for you. If you're doing a presentation and somebody says at the end, wow, that sounded really good, I need to think about it, you are way too logical. People do not act on logic. People act on emotion. So logic makes people think, emotion makes people act. And people will run away from pain far more than they will run towards pleasure. So find out what the pain could be in owning that property and having it vacant and all that. And then share with him what could be the alternative to that, the pleasure. What could be the pleasure of that? And by all means, we're looking to solve problems, not sell people, because it's all about a win-win or no deal relationship. Friends, thanks so much for sharing time with me today, East Coast to West Coast, I love this. Thanks so much to your amazing team leader, Stephanie. Let Stephanie help you build wealth. She has been trained to help you build wealth. There's no other real estate company in the world that actually hires people for their agents to build wealth with. She is there to build wealth with her. Connect with her today. Say, hey, how do I build wealth with you? And if you know anybody, or maybe you're interested in what a coaching relationship could look like Stephanie has with a MAP certified professional coach, have a conversation with her about that as well. There's all kinds of programs that we're offering to help people. So we're at the top of the hour. Thanks again, everybody. It was great meeting you, and we'll see you soon. Take care, everybody. Bye now.
Thank you so much, Mark. Appreciate
My
it.
pleasure. See you at Spring Mastermind, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you. Have a good
My
day.
pleasure. Bye, everybody.